Alright folks, Pliskin by 51mm here. Today I'm doing a quick video on, this is like a first impressions video on the Delta 14 chassis for the M1A. And of course that's this stock here, it's the Delta 14 chassis by delta14.com. I'm going to say right off the bat, if you're needing to upgrade your M1A or M14, this is probably the best option to do it. If you're wanting a tactical rifle to make your M14 a tactical rifle, this is the best option. Because as you can see here, with all the attachments I've added, I've got a Purst 4, I've got a Daniel Defense foregrip, and then this part back here is the Mesa adapter. And then I've got a Bravo Company 6-position mil spec buffer tube, Daniel Defense buttstock, and pistol grip. So this stock will make the world your oyster with the M14 platform. Of course, the AMS rail, I added that because this is an M1A Scout Squad, but right out of the box, this thing is already like only 0.7 pounds. It is plastic. There's a truck coming down the road, and even with all this stuff that I've added, let's let the truck get on through. I don't know how people are still driving diesel trucks in this economy, but anyway, but even with all this stuff I've added to the Delta 14, or to the M1A Scout Squad, as I've dubbed the M14A4, but even with all this stuff I've added to it, this stock is already really lightweight from the word go. And here's that flashlight on the other side that I showed. But this thing, compared to my M1A loaded, this gun's not even in the same weight category. So you can add a whole lot of stuff to your M14 rifle and not bear it down. The one I got was their most expensive one because it came with a pistol grip and a folding stock. It's like $500. But they offer smaller, or well, less tactical versions. I think you can even just buy it by itself, the stock, and then add stuff to it as you go. But I chose to get the one that came with the Mesa adapter and the folding stock from the word go, so that way I could just go ahead and add stuff to it. So, I mean, this stock makes your M1A highly, modular. You can do just about anything to it. And I could take any of this stuff out and put new stuff on it. And in the time that I've had it, I've not had this. I'll have had the M1A Scout Squad itself, MBS Scout Squad, for a year come June or July. But this stock here, in my experience, shooting it with a pistol grip, this stock just makes the M1A very ergonomic as well. I mean, the M1A is not that hard of a rifle to, get used to. The manual of arms is pretty much an AK. You got right side charging handle, and then your safety's just right there, but that's no big deal. It's easy to remember. Some people say that's a bad spot for it, but that's actually a good spot because it's ambi. So, but this stock, very lightweight. You can add all sorts of stuff to it. You can add rails, like I have up here in the front. You can add furniture in the front, pistol grips, anything you want, and it doesn't weigh 1,000 pounds. Like, say, if you were to go with another stock system, this is fairly light compared to other stocks that I've read about. I think the EBR chassis is like 11 pounds by itself. And this one basically doesn't weigh anything. until you start putting stuff on it. But even then, it's still a very lightweight rifle. Um, Function and form, you do have to Dremel it out a little bit, and I recommend that you follow the contours for the trigger group from your factory stock. When you get to putting the trigger group in, just follow the contours from your factory stock and Dremel out in accordance to how the trigger group would fit in the other stock. Just basically mimic the pattern with the Dremel tool. And other than that, it locks up in there once you get that trigger closed on there, on the action on them receiver lugs in this thing. It's in there solid. There's no play, no wiggle. I mean, listen. That little bit you're hearing's like the flashlight wobbling up here, I think, or one of the rails, but things in there. And I found shooting it. I had a viewer ask me if it changes your point of impact if you zero the sights in your factory stock and then switch over to this, will it change your point of impact? I didn't notice anything, and a lot of that comes from the fact that when I dropped this M1A Scout Squad into the Delta 14 chassis, I did it right away. So that way now this action and this stock are basically mated, if that makes sense. That way, like, I could just go ahead, like, any strange abnormalities are pretty much eliminated from the get-go, because this stock has spent more time in the Delta 14 chassis than it has its other stock, the factory stock it came in. And I did that from the word go, because that's kind of one of those things where if you're going to like upgrade, make a big upgrade like this to the M14 or any gun really, it'd be better to do it right away, so that way the action and stock can, you know, get one with it, if that makes sense. Like, and I also put a national match spring guide in this from the word go, so that way when, as you shoot it, it doesn't see nothing strange. Your groups are already improved from the word go. So that's one of them things, like, if you're gonna go this route with a type of stock with a Delta 14 chassis on your M1A M14, I mean, it'd be best to go ahead and go ahead and do it. But as for loss of zero from switching stocks, I didn't see anything to indicate that it had lost zero. If anything, it made shooting it all that more easy, because you just get your, like, the pistol grip changes the dynamic from the traditional grip. You can get like you can pull the rifle into you more. So it wasn't a big, like, I didn't see no change in accuracy. In fact, from everything I've seen, it's kind of helped the rifle overall. So my first impressions of this stock is that this is probably one of the best upgrades for an M1A that you can do. I have not seen nothing that would make me think otherwise. Um, like, if I were to go back and change something, or if I were to do it again, what would I do? But from the word go, no issues whatsoever. The only issue I had, and it wasn't the stock, it was the trigger group this particular M1A Scout Squad came with. And I covered that in the video yesterday, that the ears, the trigger hooks for the receiver lugs, one of them's crooked. And I noticed that last night. So that was preventing this from locking up in the stock with its, the trigger it came with. This has the M1A loaded trigger in it. But, it's run like a breeze, and you can get repeat shots on target real easy. I'm pointing down because there's houses all around. And as far as I know, I'm the only person out here. Nobody's seen me, so I don't want to be out here pointing a gun. And people would be like, "Oh, you're trying to shoot the place up." And no, I'm just doing a review in my backyard. But all in all, my first impressions are this is one of the best options for an M1A M14 that you can go with over the traditional style stocks. From what I've seen, I mean, this, of course, is the only pistol grip stock I've ever run for an M14. I've never run an EBR or I think there's like a Troy chassis. There's a bunch of other ones, but my first impressions with the Delta 14 is it's made this rifle fathoms better. Fathoms. And you can, like I said, you can add all this stuff to it and not have any severe gain in weight. I mean, yeah, it's beefy, it's front heavy up here with that purse, but it don't weigh a whole as much as it could if I had put this in the EBR. So yeah, my opinion is my first impressions, and from everything I've seen, I absolutely love it, and I think it's a good choice. I'll continue to test it and shoot with it and see if there's anything that changes. But so far, from even like with how it locks up here or back here with the trigger and the action, there's no wiggle at all. There's not even like a lighted gap or a gap of light between the stock and the action either. And that's always a good thing with M14s. You don't want to see no light come through back here. So we got that pretty good. So personally, one of the best options you can get for the M1A M14. So anyway, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but just never had a good time to do it because it's always like the weather's been bad and inside is like right now it's too loud in there. And my big camera went down, like I said, and I'm having to do this on the cell phone, and so tonight was the night to do it. So and I did it. So and doing those videos on my M1A loaded last night spurred me to do it. So anyway, this has been Pliskin by 51mm. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope to make more. The weather's getting nicer out, and it's like 6:30, 31, and the sun's still up, so we're getting more daylight per day, which is good. So anyway, this has been Pliskin. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace. Now I gotta turn this thing off. There we go. Come on.